one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll just note here that the meeting is going to be live streamed via YouTube for those people who want to watch. Meeting minutes aren't quite ready yet, so we'll table that till the next meeting. Lisa, did we get any correspondence that I don't know
did.
about?
You got one from Rebecca Summer for the Brooks in-ground pool. For your first application.
All right. The legal notice for the public hearings appeared in the Daily Messenger, along with under review signs being posted on the subject parcels. Postcards were mailed to property owners within a minimum of 500 feet from location for the initial public hearing date of each application. For applications carried over, please refer to the Planning and Building Office. And with regard to the public hearings, and there are 3 of them. Speakers are requested to limit comments to 3 minutes and will be asked to conclude comments at 5 minutes. Lisa, what are we doing next time? Or Kim, whoever's got it.
Kim, do you want me to do it?
Yeah, I don't have it.
Okay. Your
Great.
next meeting is on April 13th. You have the public hearing for Beauvais driveway at 1550 State Route 444. It is owned by Chris Beauvais. He is requesting approval to install a 12-foot, 20-foot culvert and install a second driveway similar to existing driveway to accommodate a travel trailer. You have Brush Barn at 8045 County Road 41. Applicant is requesting approval for the height of the accessory structure to be in excess of 15 feet. Fisher's Landing Facade Modification at 7383 State Route 96. Applicant is requesting approval to renovate the north facade of the existing 23,000 square foot building, including removal of a portion of the C metal roof and conversion of the center element into a gable end appearance. And your last one would be Wilkins RV of Victor Site Development, located at 7447 State Route 96. Applicant is requesting approval to demolish the existing 13,318 square foot showroom and construct a new 18,560 square foot showroom that will be attached to the existing service building. Then any carryovers?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Our first one is Victor Hills Golf Club Conveyance Plan, 1397 Brace Road, 01 PS 2021, 04 FS 2021, Zone Residential 2, owner 5J Enterprises LLC. Applicant is requesting to subdivide 3.09 acres from a parent parcel of 123 acres. This will be the second and third step in a 3-step process for a major subdivision. The sketch plan was acknowledged complete on January 26, 2021.
Any questions?
Any questions for Jack?
It's actually going to be 2.8 acres because we left a 60-foot strip where the parking is for the hiking trail, and it'll continue to provide access to the main parcel. So instead of 3.09, it's actually 2.8 acres.
And the resolution that we have does say 2.8 acres.
Move.
We did that to
First of
maintain.
all,
We did that to maintain access to the main parcel from 2 roads, one break a day and the other one we have at Brace Road. And then that's also the parking area for access to the hiking trail, which is under an easement, so.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Joe? Either
Good.
Joe, either one of them.
I have no questions.
Okay, Joe Lindbeck.
No questions.
Okay, Al?
All set.
Okay, as am I. Anything come in, Susie?
No, there are no comments.
Thank you. Okay, we got a resolution here. We close the public hearing. Somebody make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll move.
Al moves.
Second.
Joe Lindbeck seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, this is the resolution for the Victor Hills Golf Club subdivision preliminary and final, 1397 Brace Road. It's today's date, application number 01PS21 and 04FS21. Whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact, and there are 9. Whereas the town of Victor Planning Board reviewed the unlisted action on March 23, 2021 and identified no significant impacts. Now therefore be it resolved that the project, Victor Hills Golf Club subdivision, will not have a significant impact on the environment and that a negative declaration be prepared. And be it further resolved that the preliminary/final subdivision application of 5J Enterprises LLC, major subdivision entitled Victor Hills Golf Club subdivision, drawn by BME Associates dated October 2020, last revised February 19, 2021, planning board application number 0PS 2021 and 04FS 2021, be approved with the following conditions that must be met prior to the chairman signing the preliminary/final subdivision plan. 1, that no final signatures will be given on the plans until all legal and engineering fees have been paid as per fee reimbursement local law adopted November 25, 1996. That before the planning board chairman signs the approved film originals, the developer should submit 2 copies of electronic files to the town. Copies of electronic files should be forwarded to the town engineer to confirm that the data on the electronic files is the same as the approved subdivision plans. 3, that section 4 standard approval conditions for all subdivisions, major and minor, of the design and constructions standards be met. 4, that the comments in a letter dated March 1, 2021 from code enforcement officer be addressed. And then conditions that are ongoing standard conditions that must be adhered to. 1, that the major subdivision comply with the town of Victor design and construction standard land development, including section 4. 2, that approved subdivision maps, including conservation easements, lot consolidations, and lot line adjustments, shall be submitted in digital format, AutoCAD 2002 or latest version, effective January 1, 2004, per Town Board Resolution number 193 of June 23, 2003. 3, the applicant shall be aware that this approval does not mean that the new lot is an approved building lot. Site plan approval will be required prior to the lot becoming buildable lot and before a building permit can be issued. And be it further resolved that the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. Can you have a motion?
I'll make the motion. Joe Logan.
Joe Logan moves. Who's second? I didn't hear
Second.
that. Al seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, resolution passed.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Good night.
Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
Good night. Hope it's a short
Alrighty.
one.
Before
Yeah.
moving on, I believe you have an old agenda. So Brooks in-ground pool is actually first, but if you would do them next.
Okay,
Thank you.
I was gonna ask that question. What
Sure.
happened to Brooks?
Yeah, they're still, I think they're still here.
They are.
Precision Pool is here, so
Yes, that's who's presenting.
somebody from Precision Pool and Spa. So he's there for that.
Thank you.
Okay, this is the Brooks and Brown in-ground pool, 7876 Hidden Oaks, owner Raymond Brooks, 10 SP 2021, zone limited development district. Applicant is requesting approval to install a 700 square foot in-ground gunite pool at the rear of the property. This parcel is located in the limited development district. Let's see. I lost the pool guy.
I'm here.
Oh, there you go. Okay, give us your name, please.
My name is David
For the record.
Cox. I'm the president of Precision Pool.
Okay. Okay, tell us what's gonna happen.
We propose to install a gunning swimming pool approximately 24 feet off of the house. We have a 48-foot setback on one side, 107 foot on the other side, a little over 500 feet from the rear. We propose to, per the grading plan we submitted, take the spoils, fill in a very deep swale to the right, even with the pool with the spoils. And it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing special other than what we're submitting on the drawing.
Okay. I'm going to interrupt that just for a moment because I neglected to ask Dave Condon if there's anything to report with regard to town board.
Well, thank you, Ernie. Not a lot to report. As you know, we started a year off with our pause, waiting to see what revenue would do, and just working our way through COVID and all of that. And I do believe we're starting to come through on the other side. And we made last night, we made several resolutions, which included some purchasing of some equipment for the highway department that we had delayed, and also bringing back a couple of town employees, which we had decided that we were going to bring back to the highway department, Parks and Rec, working on the grounds. And so I would say that things are moving in the right direction, and we're just continuing to do business as it comes before us. And I think the other thing that's kind of interesting that came up last night, and I think it's kind of interesting for our residents, is that Jack has been attending the Fishers Fire District meetings with the commissioners. And as you know, there's a tremendous discrepancy, obviously, in what the Fishers Fire Protection costs as opposed to the Victor Fire District. And I think that they are looking into doing some studies at the county level of public safety and regional support. And they're going to look at models both within the state of New York and also at models in other states on how they do that. So I think stay tuned, and as you hear things, and if you're interested, if you live in the Fishers Fire District, certainly you should attend some of those meetings once a month. And the Victor Fire District also meet the same night that you do. So you as board members, but if somebody's listening in, they meet the second Tuesday of the month at the Victor Fire Department with their commissioners. So other than that, I would say things are moving along very well.
Well, great. Good to hear. Anybody have any questions for Dave?
Well, thanks, Dave, for the update.
Yeah, well, I'm familiar with the Fishers Fire District issue since I'm in the Fishers Fire District. I didn't think it'd be right for me to miss one of our meetings to go to their meetings, so I am not going to any of their meetings. But I get reports,
Oh, good.
and I'm glad to hear something's happening. Okay, but back to Precision Pool. Sorry I interrupted, but I always forget one thing every meeting, and this was Dave's turn to be forgotten.
I live in the Fishers Fire District too, so I understand.
Oh, good. Okay, go ahead.
So I understand that it was in a limited development district. We went before the conservation board. I believe we meet all of the setbacks, all the fencing requirements have been set in. I'm not sure what would hold this up from the permit being issued, but I'm here to answer any questions that anybody may have of me regarding that.
Susie, in the materials, there was a mock-up of what it's going to look like. Can you find that?
Oh, I only had the one page that I had up
Oh.
before.
Okay.
I've got it, Ernie, if you need it.
As you say, you should be able to share if you wanted to share it.
I believe that's what you're looking for.
Yes.
Yep. So that's what they intend to do.
Yes, sir.
All the board members have seen that because it was in your packet, but those who are tuning in probably had no idea what they want to do.
My opinion, it's very ambitious. It's impressive. The ground does slope away from the pool quite a bit. And I know you mentioned, I think that you are going to be using the excavation to create the fill downslope. Is that true?
Yeah, so from the bottom half of the 3D picture to the back where the slide is, we have approximately an 18-inch drop total from where the chase lounges are to the slide. There will be no patio on the backside. She wants to preserve the natural setting and actually create the slide to be set into the woods. So we propose to just fill the back with the dirt around the backside of the pool, grade it off. It does drop substantially over there. I mean, those hills roll from -9 feet to +60 feet all throughout there, which is, I'm assuming, why it's in the limited development district. As far as where the actual pool is being set, the grade is not terribly significant, but roughly 8 to 10 feet past the pool, it does drop substantially.
So in this grading plan, the house is close to the lounges that are shown in plan here.
Yes, sir.
And this is the rock slide
Yes, sir.
downhill. Okay. Is there any, do you have any geotechnical expertise helping you with this for slope stability, things like that?
We are going to put silt fence up around our entire area to protect the area. As far as I propose to keep the natural grade that's there, not change it whatsoever. We're going to use the spoils, but maintain the existing slope.
You're just putting extra fill in this area where the pool has to stay level, I assume, underneath this rock
Yes,
slide feature.
the pool is 8 feet in the ground as far as depth right there.
Yep.
So I don't see an issue with that at all whatsoever.
Okay. Those are the only questions I had, Ernie.
Okay. Anybody else in the board? Al?
Yeah, just one question. I didn't see any indication in the layout relative to fencing. So what's the applicant's intent to provide the necessary fencing?
I believe on one of the things we submitted, we did have the fence, and we are going to use the house as one wall of the fence. All of the doors will be alarmed with a New York State code compliant door alarm. And the fence will return right behind the slide and come back to the house on both corners of the house. I think that was in our original building permit application.
Okay, so I have no issues with that. Just needs to be documented somewhere in the application to ensure that that's been contemplated in the installation.
Absolutely.
Ernie, do you still want me to continue to share this?
Continue what?
You want me to continue sharing the screen here?
Oh, no, I think unless anybody else wants to keep it up. I think we're done. Joe Limbeck, anything?
Oh, I think it's a nice design. It's very attractive. Are you removing any trees to put in the pool?
No, there was a couple dead trees that were removed that we went through with the conservation board. She did, before all of this came to fruition, look into an arborist that was negated immediately. She maintained where the existing pool is. There was about 3 dead trees that were removed, but all of the existing trees have been maintained. She's installing an inflow cleaning system in the pool as well to deal with the trees. So she wants the trees.
For sure. Thank you. That's all I've got, Ernie.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Any calls in, Susie?
No, there are no comments.
Thank you. Somebody make a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Joe Lindbeck makes the motion.
A second.
Second.
Joe Logan.
Logan makes the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing is closed. I've got a resolution here for Brooks in-ground pool, 7876 Hidden Oaks, Pittsburgh. It's a Pittsburgh mailing address. I want you to know that. It's not physically located in Pittsburgh. Today's date, 3/23/21. Application number 10SP 2021. Whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact, and there are 7. Whereas the Town of Victor Planning Board reviewed the unlisted action on March 23, 2021, and identified no significant impacts. Now therefore be it resolved that the project Brooks in-ground pool will not have a significant impact on the environment, and that a negative declaration be prepared. Now therefore be it resolved that the application of David Cox of Precision Pool and Spa, site plan entitled Brooks in-ground pool, received by the planning board March 10, 2021. Planning board application number 10SP 2021 be approved with the following conditions. Conditions to be addressed prior to the chairman's signature on the site plan. That no final signatures will be given on the plans until all legal and engineering fees have been paid as per fee reimbursement local law adopted November 25, 1996. 2, that comments from code enforcement officer dated March 23, 2021 be addressed. Ongoing conditions, and there's only one. That the site plan comply with the Town of Victor design and construction standards for land development, including section 4, and be it further resolved that the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. There's a motion on this.
I'll move.
Al makes the motion. Joe Lindbeck seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, you all set?
Thank you very much, guys. You have a good night.
You too.
Thanks.
You too.
Next is, Lisa, is it O'Neill next?
Yes, it is.
Okay, this is the O'Neill subdivision, 7874 County Road 41, 0 PS 2021 at 05 FS 2021, zone residential 3, owner William and Victoria O'Neill. Applicant is requesting for a 7-lot major subdivision on 76.4 acres located on County Road 41 and Strong Road. 6 lots will be created for a new single-family home. The existing home will remain on lot 7. This will be the second and third step in a 3-step process for a major subdivision. The sketch plan was acknowledged complete December 15, 2020. Okay, who do we have here for this? Link, are you here on this one?
Yep, Link with BME. I'm here for this one. So I'll give you a little intro here. So the plan is very consistent with the plan that we reviewed in the conceptual planning phase. Once again, it's the same lot configurations. It's 76 acres, like you said, into 7 lots. Lot 7 has the existing on it, and basically, after we met with the planning board last time, we went and sort of coordinated with the individual buyers with the conservation easement area locations, which are shown on this plan. And we coordinated them with sort of where we see the developable areas, and also making sure we were meeting the 50% per lot, and also trying to preserve areas that made sense. I also went to the conservation board and walked it with the conservation board on March 13th, a couple Saturdays ago. We went out and walked it with the conservation board with them, and just to go through and sort of review how we came up with what we did for the conservation easements. We've also, had left lot 4, which is the big lot, the 30-acre lot. We left that without showing a conservation easement on it, just because that's going to continue to be farmed, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to put do a conservation easement, because if we try to put markers up, they're going to get probably hit by a tractor. So, we sort of left that with a note that says once they go to develop that would need to be that would need 50% open space, and at that time you could decide for the 50% area for that. We did receive comments from staff, county planning, and Labella's comments. They're sort of hot off the press, but I did send written responses back to the town this afternoon once I sort of got them all. So I did get sort of written responses back. But I think the other things we talked about were we had gotten some indications from the preliminary perk and soil tests that were performed out there that so far everything that they've tested indicates a conventional system is anticipated out there. So it'll all be septics and wells. And it looks like we got, some additional notes and things that staff are looking for, which we feel comfortable with adding those to the plans. And then, the next step after the subdivision would be for each of these individual lot owners to come in with their site plans for these specific lots. So I think it's sort of consistent with what we talked about last time, and we're just working our way through it. So.
Wes, you want to chime in, or do you have anything?
Maybe before I chime in, are we in a public hearing? Maybe I'll defer to any public comments that might be out there first.
Okay, we are. So, Susie, anything yet from public?
No, there are no comments yet.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I would like to just share one. It's not really a major concern. So there were a couple of comments that we had, revising notes and so forth on the plan. The only thing that I think you might want to consider, and I pointed it out in our letter, and Link has already kind of responded that, he's open to listen to what the planning board's discussion or dialogue is. So you've got a conservation easement that comes out kind of between, I think it's lots 5 and 6. And we were, I wanted to suggest that the planning board consider whether the proposed conservation easement configuration would preclude the future ability for shared ingress and egress if that conservation easement comes all the way out to the right of way. I don't know if we can get a copy or a picture up on the screen of the area between lots 5 and 6, but I can kind of point out what I'm speaking about here. Just in case that there's a need for maybe a future shared access point along Boughton Hill Road or County Road 41.
Yeah, we had it up earlier, didn't we?
Yeah, let me try this. Let me try this.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and I mean, they're pretty big lots. So, we were just sort of consistent with how we were applying sort of what we were doing to them, there's 2 utility poles. There's, 2 utility poles right in that area where the easement is to the right or to your right. There's 3, right in the middle of that easement. There's 1, 2. Yeah. So I mean, I think the driveways would probably, it's hard to say. It's one of those deals where we just were trying to be consistent and try to preserve the middle of the lots.
Yeah. So this is the area that I was speaking of here, right? And I guess I wasn't paying too close attention to any utility poles or existing conditions that might be out here. I was just considering, if for some reason there was a need to share a lot access, if there's a lot access here on lot 5, and there was some difficulty finding an access here for lot 6, maybe cutting the conservation easement off at this location so that this is, kind of remains white, would allow for a driveway to go in there. Maybe it's not a big deal. Just wanted to run it by the planning board in case they felt it might be a good idea. So that's my really only comment here. I mean, as was discussed previously, typically for a subdivision application, we get, information on perk tests and sufficiency of the lot to accommodate, septic systems and water. But it's we've kind of spelled it out clearly in our review letter, and as BME Associates has done as well. This is merely the applicant trying to convey land to others who will be responsible for, providing that documentation if they want to build on the lots. So that's all I've got.
Okay. Anything to the board? Start with Al this time.
No, I don't have any questions, Ernie.
Okay. Joe Limbeck.
I like what they've done in general with the conservation easements, particularly on lot 3. You indicated that they've been talking with the prospective buyers, and I like what's happening on lot 3 with the conservation easements embracing the wetlands, and assuming that that's going to satisfy the potential buyer in terms of use of the property. I think they did a particularly nice job there. So I'm comfortable with leaving lot 4 without an easement. I'm assuming there'll be something in a deed though that will guarantee that an easement is placed if it is no longer used for agricultural. Is that the case?
Right now, I just put that, I got that big note on there that just says it's going to remain ag. A minimum of 50% of the property must be placed into conservation easement with any future application to the town of Victor.
This one here, right, Mike?
Okay. I'm happy with the way this has come along, and I've got no further comments, Ernie.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Joe Logan.
Yeah, I've got a couple. If we look at lot 3, it's good that we did wrap it around. I agree with Joe Limbeck on that. I was looking at this federal wetland limits here, and it's at elevation 810. And if you go over to this spot here, it's 808, which is lower than the boundary for the wetlands. So it tells me that this is potentially going to stay wet as well. And I'm not sure why that's not called out as a wetland, to tell you the truth. But, water doesn't, I don't know where a house might go. Are you talking about down here somewhere where it's a lot higher, Mike, or closer to the road?
I think it looks like it might lend itself to closer to the road there. They'd have to go either closer to the road there, or if they did something in the back, they'd have to, look at that when they tried to get back there with the site plan. I mean, we walked it with the conservation board. You can definitely tell that wetland's low, and then you can see a low area over to the other side.
Here.
That wetland there, and then the 810, which is down next to the 15-foot side box label to the left. No, the other side off the property to the left. Over, keep going to the left.
Oh, down
right
here.
There. Down there, you can definitely tell that's low too. I didn't see any wet area in there. I don't know if maybe it just ponds every once in a while, but there wasn't anything there that indicated a wetland, at least when we walked it. You could tell the wetlands,
Yeah. I mean, the last place I put a house is right here, but it's such a steep drop off in this area to the north, I guess, from 832 near the road down to, down to low.
It might make sense to walk something out there because it's really nice. It looks really, really nice there. That'll be up to, when they go in and sort of where they want to put the house. But they wanted to leave flexibility in the front of that wetland. So we originally had that wetland. We originally had that easement going out on the east side all the way to the road, and we added it to the back. Yeah, we originally had it there, and we added it into the back because they wanted more flexibility there to bring the driveway in on that side.
Sure. Yeah, if you came in here, you could wrap around perhaps and put a house back up here or in the hill.
Yeah.
Or put the house right in this area. I don't know. All right.
Yeah.
That was my biggest thing. Was it just seemed like there's enough low spots in this across this whole area that you're looking at having developable or maintainable lot area instead of the conservation easement, that it would be a problem. So, all right, that's all I had, Ernie.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Anybody else have anything else, Wes or anybody? Well, we don't have a resolution on this. Do we keep the public hearing open, Jim?
If you'd like, or you can close it. It's up to you.
What is the board's pleasure? Close the public hearing? Well, first, Susie, anybody call in?
No, there are no comments.
Okay.
I would
thank
make a
you.
motion to close the public hearing. Ernie. It's Joe Logan.
Yep, Joe Logan makes the motion. Who seconds?
Okay.
Joe Lindbeck seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing is closed. So I guess we don't have a resolution tonight.
We're coming back next time to finalize this on the resolution. Is that what I'm hearing? Is there anything else
I believe
outstanding,
so.
Wes, that needs to be addressed?
As far as I know, there's nothing else that needs to be addressed. I can't remember if the code enforcement officer provided any comments that would need to be addressed. I did see links. I did have an opportunity to review the BME response letter they provided today. There isn't anything that appears to be a showstopper that wouldn't be able to be addressed as a condition of approval. So, you know, we'd be happy to draft a resolution for consideration at the next meeting.
I would do that. Give everybody a chance,
Yeah.
give you a chance to make sure you got everything, all your ducks in a row, so to speak.
Okay, then. Our last item is
All
going
right,
to be,
so thank you. We're all set then. We'll come back in next meeting
Yep.
for, okay, thank you.
excellent. Okay, our last item is Willisville Estates Phase 2, and we have a little problem with this. Jim, has anything changed since this resolution was typed up?
For Willis Hill? No, this is your first time you see this as a final subdivision for phase 2. Not Willow Rise townhouses. It's Willis Hill,
Oh,
Willis Hill Estates.
Formerly known as Anderson subdivision.
Yes.
right. Right. Okay, who wants to go for it, Jeff or Lucas?
Lucas is up.
Lucas raised his hand.
I
Okay.
had him worried.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. And I've actually got a figure I can share on my screen, just so that I can walk you through it, if that's okay. Hopefully everyone can see this color rendering here on my screen. So this is phase 2 of Willis Hill Estates, as you mentioned previously, Anderson subdivision. It's 23 lots on the east side of Willis Hill Road. As you may remember, phase 1 was 5 lots over on Strong Road. Those were estate lots, larger lots. And the future phase 3 is an additional 25 lots on the west side of Willis Hill Road. But phase 2 is comprised of these 23 lots. 22 are built off of this new roadway, Walden Hollow. And those 23 lots include 1 flag lot. As you can see, this lot is set sort of up on the hill, tucked into this clearing area. And then in addition, we've got 1, we'll call it a state style lot in phase 2. This is similar to the lots you saw in phase 1. So this is the 23rd lot in phase 2. Phase 2 is 56 acres overall. It's this entire property you see here over connecting to Modoc Road, and a significant area, that 23 acres are going to be set aside for conservation area. As you may remember, most of the conservation area was reserved in phase 1. That was a significant portion of land between Willis Hill and Strong Road. So phase 2 files away the rest of that conservation easement. So there's a large conservation easement out behind the lots. This is part of lot 204, the flag lot. And there's some additional conservation easement set over on the estate lot to sort of create a buffer between the rear yard of that lot and the rear yard of the cluster lots. So along Willis Hill Road, there's currently no water or sewer. So we're bringing water up from Modoc Road. So that's just south of this page. That's where the water main currently terminates. And we're bringing that up into our subdivision. We're extending it further along Willis Hill Road through this area to service lot 223. So it really will extend all the way across our development. It's about 2,400 linear feet of 8-inch water main. In the future, that will cross the road to phase 3 and ultimately loop down to Strong Road and create a loop system for the water authority. And that design, that plan has been submitted to the water authority. It's been under review there for about a year now. So that's been developed with their input. As I mentioned, the sewer is also not available in this area yet. So we're extending that from up north. It's currently at the intersection of Willis Hill Road and Route 251. So that's about 2,400 feet of gravity sewer that's being extended along the roadway and up into our subdivision, ultimately to serve both phase 2 and phase 3 of the development. That all 48 of those lots will be on the gravity sewer. And that sewer similarly has gone through about a year of review, a lot of back and forth, a lot of input from the town, from Labella, West. The town of Farmington has been involved in that review. So as you can imagine, the design of a gravity sewer is a little bit more complicated than a pressurized water main system. So all the locations of those manholes, where the main is set, where it crosses the road and how, that's all been worked through in great detail with the town. And the design you see on a final phase 2 plan submitted has been a result of that work back and forth. Gas and electric are readily available on Willis Hill Road, so those will be easy connections and extensions into the subdivision. And that leaves stormwater, which, as with the rest of the utilities in this subdivision, we design from an overall standpoint. So to consider all of the phases, all of the lots being proposed. So there are 2 stormwater management facilities, both on the west side of Willis Hill Road. You can see them here, the blue circles. So this site has really good soils. They're high infiltration, sandy soils, which is really great from a stormwater standpoint. We're able to treat the water really the best way from the perspective of the DEC. So these are both infiltration basins, essentially meaning that they'll provide storage for the storm events, but a significant portion of that stormwater will end up infiltrating into the soil within these facilities. So these are both being constructed with phase 2 right up front, and ultimately sized to handle both phase 2 and 3 of the development. So the storm sewer will come, cross Willis Hill Road, enter into this infiltration basin. From there, it'll overflow into the secondary infiltration basin before discharging off-site. Most of this area already drains to this location. So between the infiltration basins that we're adding, we'll be reducing that runoff rate from the site in this area. And we're also proposing an improvement. This is Mr. Turner's driveway. And we'll be, right now the stormwater just sort of flows over his driveway with no real channelization. So we're working with him to sort of upgrade his driveway, install a culvert under the driveway, such that stormwater will have a place to go. It's not a significant amount of stormwater that leaves this site, but adding a pipe underneath his driveway will help improve that area. Finally, the one other thing I wanted to mention is this area of the roadway of Willis Hill Road. There's a sort of a hill that intrudes into the shoulder of the roadway, and it restricts vision as you're coming northbound from this northbound lane. You sort of can't see this area over here. It gets blocked off. And obviously that'll impact the vehicles coming in and out of our subdivision, particularly from the phase 3 entrance. But one of the things that we're proposing is to address that issue. Essentially, we're going to be cutting back that bank where the bank currently comes right up to the edge of pavement. We'll be shifting that back 8 feet. So taking that same slope and just pushing it back away from the road to create more of a natural shoulder area. And that'll open up the distances, the site distance lines right through this area. It'll also allow for drainage to behave properly in that area, and it'll allow us to bring our water main through that area. So one of the components of that element of the project is that Jeff is just asking that he'll address this site distance issue as part of the proposed development. And he is just asking that the town highway department assist with trucking of those materials and with traffic control of those materials. So that was an idea that we floated to the town, and it seemed that they were open to that sort of combined effort to address this existing issue on Willis Hill Road. I should note that it was part of the proposed Willis Hill, the town proposed Willis Hill improvements to install a gabion wall there. So this alternate approach will save the town in having to install that gabion wall, and the joint effort is sort of, that was sort of where that idea came from. So it seemed like the town highway department was open to assisting in that way. It'll just be a matter of scheduling that and coordinating availability there. So that's phase 2 in a nutshell. As you can tell, it has not changed much since our preliminary conversations. But if there's any questions, I'll be happy to address those.
Hey, anything, first of all, Wes, you want to chime in now or later?
Yeah, I'd be happy to chime in now. I don't think we're in the midst of a public hearing on this particular application. The public hearing was held during the preliminary overall subdivision phase. So yeah, Labella, we've not yet finished our comments on this final subdivision application. We do have comments for the off-site sanitary sewer. And as Lucas said, there's been a lot of dialogue between Labella Associates, the town, and Marathon with regard to the placement and location of the off-site sanitary sewer. And we're happy with where it's located. I think the comments that we have are more technical in nature. I don't think they're really anything that would be showstoppers. So we've got sanitary sewer comments for them, and also to touch on that little bump out on Willis Hill Road. I can show you if I can share my screen. Maybe Lucas, could you?
Yeah, I can stop sharing.
Okay. See if I can bring this up here. You see the design plan for, this is Willis Hill Road right here, along here. So you can see the proposed grading here that would take place. And I want to be sure that it's clear that the town of Victor wouldn't be participating in private development here. We've talked with, I had Wade Daly of our office talk with Mark Years, the highway superintendent, about potentially participating in this. And the Willis Hill Road kind of a reconstruction project. It's not a full reconstruction, but there was anticipation of using town funds to build a gabion wall at this particular location that you see here where this proposed grading is. So the town would be, doing this work as part of that Willis Hill Road project anyway. So if we can figure out a way to, combine or look at the scheduling of this, right? Like Lucas was talking about scheduling the proposed development in this particular work along with the town's roadway project, just to coordinate that. So it's not as if the town is going to be, helping promote or helping do the applicant's project for them. It's that this work would be going forward anyway. So we'll probably have some comments on this particular grading plan here, and some feedback from Mark Years and Wade Daly. That should be forthcoming. I'll stop sharing here. That's what I wanted to show there. I'm still a little concerned, as we noted in the preliminary overall subdivision, about the steep slopes behind, I think it's lot 205. And Lucas, you're welcome to bring up your graphic if you want. That'd be fine.
Yeah, sure.
There's some 1-on-2 slope proposed at the rear yard of lot 205. It's immediately adjacent to the flag lot driveway, just north of that flag lot driveway. Initially, they had proposed a 1-on-1 slope back there, and as a result of our comment, where we initially were asking for a geotechnical report to assure that the earth could accommodate the proposed slope, they did increase the area of grading there to minimize or avoid the 1-on-1 slope, and now they're about at 1-on-2 with some slope stabilization measures. I'd feel more comfortable if the applicant would be able to provide a letter, maybe from a geotechnical professional. It doesn't have to be a full-blown geotechnical report, but maybe a geotechnical professional indicating that based on the proposed slope stabilization and the soils that are on site, that the project will be able to accommodate those slopes without any adverse effects in the long run. I think that would be helpful for the planning board to feel more comfortable in that regard. The site distance issue we've gone over, and that site distance issue, as Lucas said, it's an issue for both phase 2 and phase 3, but we need to take care of it in phase 2. We can't wait until phase 3. And then I noticed there were some notes on the drawings about open cutting of Willis Hill Road. We'll defer to the highway superintendent on that, but we'll have some other additional details, but those are the big ones that I wanted to bring up to the board.
Thanks, Wes.
Yep.
Anybody on the board have any questions? Joe Logan?
Yep, Ernie. I can appreciate the slope stability question, or at least try to resolve that, because Shire Way, I think, also had a lot of slope problems right up the road when they tried to put in some keystone retaining walls and they were failing. And I think they ended up doing a lot more work back there than they anticipated when they first did the work. So I agree with you, Wes, about your concern over the stability behind 205. I don't think I understood exactly what you meant by the town wouldn't be participating. Wes, I mean, they wouldn't be providing shared services when they do this because it will save them money, or they will do trucking, basically.
Well, they would, yeah, the intent would be, I think the applicant's intent and request is that the town provide trucking of the material to an offsite location. So the town would be participating in that. It's just that I didn't want to make it sound like the work wouldn't be done if this project wasn't going to be done. The work would be done as part of a town-sponsored project anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
So they're not realigning the road through that little wiggle in the road. It's just clearing an area off the side so that you get better sight distance.
For sight distance, and then there will be an opportunity for a shoulder Right now, there's really not much of a
There's
shoulder
nothing there,
there at all.
right?
So it provides better sight distance, right, for the location of the proposed intersections. And it will it might straighten out the lanes a little bit and provide a bit of a shoulder too.
Okay. I'm just looking at it at Google Street View, and it's you can't see around the corner. And I've driven that a million times, I'm sure. So, you know, it's going to be good to pull it back so you can see everything that's oncoming around that curve. So I'm all for that.
May I say something? That the point was that the Gabion Wall and that capital improvement program for Willis Hill was going to be done this year, but because of COVID, it was uncertain as to when it would be done. So understanding that we needed to resolve this phase 2 and phase 3 site distance problem, we offered to do an alternate plan, which in many ways would save the town some funds in terms of not having to do that Gabion wall that was proposed. So, you know, we're kind of cooperating with getting something done that we were anticipating having it done. And with the Gabion wall, our site distances were adequate, but without it, they weren't. So that's why I think in the long run, this is a better solution in terms of having a natural feature rather than artificial feature along the roadway. There will be much less maintenance in the long run for the town. And going back a little bit in terms of stabilization of slopes, we've had very good success in our Hidden Oaks subdivision, which were soil characteristics very similar to this. And we have I'm sorry, not Hidden Oaks. Well, both Hidden Oaks and Arbor Glen, but more recently Arbor Glen, where we have a number of lots that have we have stabilized slopes behind the homes with soil characteristics very similar to this, and we've had a great deal of success. I mean, I would welcome any one of you to go visit several of the lots, lot 12, lot 13, lot 14, lot 9. They all had slopes actually even greater than what's being recommended here, and we've had absolutely no difficulty. We were careful grading, we were careful restoring and providing stabilization during that process. So I don't disagree with Wes that we're certainly welcome to have a professional opinion here, but we've had a great deal of experience doing this, so I don't really anticipate any problem.
Hey, Jeff, could I ask a follow-up question on that, Jeff? Just out of curiosity, the other projects that you're referencing and recognizing that you've had success there, do you, by chance, off the top of your head, could you estimate the elevation change of those slopes? Are we talking like 10 feet or 15?
In terms of the total height elevation?
Yeah,
substantial. Even almost, I would say, nearly 100 feet on lot 13 of Arbor Glen. We had some substantial hillside reworking in the 50 to 100 feet. Some of the lots, I think lot 9 was maybe closer to 30, 40, but 13 and some of the other would be the easterly side of Arbor Glen. They were, and not to say that we weren't concerned. I mean, clearly we were making substantial grading changes, and we established swales behind the homes and regraded into the hillsides again behind the homes. But particularly lot 13, I would have to look at the elevations for sure, but it was very substantial.
All right. Lucas, could I share my screen again?
Yeah.
Okay. Just to bring the planning board to speed on the area that I'm looking at here. This is kind of the area that I was talking about, the 1-on-2 slope. And it looks like the maximum elevation change for this slope is about 25 feet, maybe 26 feet, something of that nature. So that's really the area that I was speaking of.
Yeah, well, that was modest compared to what Arbor Glen was.
Okay.
And if I could contribute one other point to this conversation is that a significant factor when you're talking about slope stability is the water passing over that slope. That's a lot of times what compromises the integrity of the slope. And both of these areas do not have a significant drainage area coming to them. They're sort of an isolated side of a hill. So you don't have a lot of rainwater that's washing over that slope. And as you mentioned, we flattened this one out to 1-on-2 and are really just trying to balance the steepness of that slope and the amount of trees that we're able to preserve at the top of it. So.
Right, and I would, Lucas, you have a good point. I mean, it's not something I guess we thought of, but clearly there weren't drainage areas directed towards these slopes that we were cutting into in terms of Arbor Glen or either Hidden Oaks. But these are both fairly old subdivisions now, and there, to my knowledge, there have been no difficulty in any of the drainage patterns.
Okay, I appreciate the dialogue here. Thanks for being attentive to the comment.
Anybody else from the board have questions or comments? About Scott has joined us now.
Yeah, sorry, I was late. I was hung up on another Zoom meeting, but the question that I had was with the modification that's proposed that we're discussing in lieu of the Gabions, do we know, was it analyzed that will provide then adequate site distances as required? Has that been confirmed?
Yeah, we looked at that geometry in selecting how far back we want to bring it. So the 8 feet is actually plenty in order to open up those site distances.
Scott, I can get confirmation on that just so that you're comfortable from both sides of the table there.
I was just curious. I think it is a good idea to have a geotech take a look at it, because it is right on the town right away. It's not within a private piece of property. It has a potential big impact to the traveling public. So I think it's a cautious thing to do. I think it's wise to do that.
Okay. Anything else, Scott?
No, that's it for me.
Okay, Joe Lindbeck.
I think it is wise to get the professional opinion, but I appreciate the fact that Jeff and his team are willing to do this. It seems that adding the shoulder and given that the town project is probably not going to happen this year, I think it's a smart thing to do so that the motoring public does not have obstacles. So I like the idea. No other comments.
Okay. Well, I'll make a comment. I drive down there frequently because I live just around the corner from there. And I believe there's some trees on that mound, or whatever you want to call it, a little hill. What's going to happen to them?
There are some trees there, yes, Ernie. Although I think there's only one substantive one that's an oak out on the hillside, but there isn't going to be a whole lot of clearing there. I do have pictures of the area that we can certainly share with the board, but it will be fairly modest. And that, admittedly, that's one reason why we're recommending a little bit steeper slope than a longer slope, because there will be more clearing involved. But we're really trying to protect the more mature trees along the roadside. But, admittedly, when you think about it, some of these 20-inch caliber trees are way too close to the road, technically. But we are still respecting them. It's the last thing I want to do is take down a lot of mature trees. And as I say, I think we've documented in pictures that there's probably only one that's of substance, and that's maybe 12 to 18 inches. But that is one reason why we would prefer to keep the slopes somewhat steep, because it will minimize the amount of vegetation to be removed.
I had a question on the running that culvert under Turner's driveway. It runs into a federal wetland. Do you need to get any approvals from the feds?
There's no permit required in order to maintain that existing flow pattern. So no, since we're not touching the wetland, we're just maintaining drainage towards it. So there's no permit required from that standpoint.
Okay. Answers my question. Anybody have anything else?
So Ernie, this is Al. So just one more comment or thought on the improvement on Willis Hill for the site distance. So like you, I drive that several times a day, and it is not a good condition. So I think an improvement there is well needed. But as part of our resolution, I mean, unless the applicant is able to secure the town's concurrence to supporting it in some way, shape, or form, the resolution should indicate, right, that it is the obligation of the applicant, just given the timing that, and we don't get into some dispute after, well, because the town's not participating potentially, that, the site, the improvement isn't made. So I just want to make sure that it's clear accountability on the completion of that work.
And I think that's reasonable. I mean, we're trying to be essentially good neighbors. We're kind of trying to contribute to the town because we knew it was needed. But if it doesn't happen, we'll bear that out.
And by the way, Jeff, I think it would be great if the town can. I mean, it makes perfect sense. But what I do, like I said, I just want to avoid a dispute after the fact to say,
No, I concur. I think that's reasonable. I mean, if we want to do the project, as Wes and LaBella have made clear, we need to resolve those site distance, even if it weren't obligated to be reserved for phase 2, it was going to be for phase 3 for sure. And we've committed to resolve it for phase 2. So.
Good. And then the only other comment is, and you don't need to bring up the schematic again, but I think it's lot 201, that first one that's adjacent to Willis Hill. I know there's an adjoining property just south of it. And while it shows, nice green on the colored map, I mean, I think those are all deciduous trees and bushes. So this time of year, it's very little buffering. So I don't know if you could, potentially put in a couple evergreens or something to just provide some around the year buffering between 201 and the adjacent property. I think that would be probably well received by the neighboring tenant.
Yeah, they've already commented on that in prior meetings.
Right.
They're concerned about privacy.
I do recall that, and there are quite a few deciduous trees in that area.
So for 6 months a year, no issue, right?
Right. Admittedly,
the other
some
6 months, it's
conifers would be nice. I'm sure we could contribute some of that. That's okay.
So those are my other 2 comments.
Anybody have anything else? That being the case, I guess we have no further business tonight. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Ernie, wasn't there an extension of time?
Yeah. What?
Was there one more time extension on the agenda?
Will arise.
First, I took it out of order. Now I'm not doing it at all. There is one more.
We've all taken our turn helping Ernie with the agenda.
Before we go, thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure, and I thank you for your time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
This is the Willisville Townhomes, otherwise known as Banjo Run. They're asking for their first 90-day extension. However, there is a little difficulty in that they have not paid their outstanding fees to the town. And they were sent a notice March 1st this year. The account was more than 90 days past due. So in accordance with that, we discussed this with council too. We can decline to give that extension until the fees are paid. So anybody have any comment on that?
If they don't get an extension of time, doesn't it revert back to the process again? I mean, having to go through a whole motion of approvals?
Technically, yes, but
Mhm.
what we can do is just provide the planning board with the materials that you've already approved and just reapprove it. The town has been trying to collect the fees again over 90 days. And we've have been unsuccessful to do that. Otherwise it'll go to collection.
I guess we deny the extension at this point. Right?
Yeah. I wasn't challenging that so much as looking at the process, saying what's the implication of denying it? And
Well, again,
If there's no
technically,
difference.
right, it's a reapproval at that point.
Yeah.
technically.
Right.
Well, in that regard, we have a resolution for the Willow Rise Townhomes, Banjo Run, today's date, March 23, 2021, application number 3FS20. Whereas in a letter dated March 15, 2021, Walt Baker, DSB Engineers and Architects, PC, requested a 90-day extension of time for application titled Willow Rise Townhomes. And whereas on March 1, 2021, the Town of Victor's Finance Director issued a letter to Frank Affronti in an attempt to collect outstanding engineering fees due to the Town of Victor that are more than 90 days past due. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Victor Planning Board denies the first 90-day extension of time for Willow Rise Townhomes until such time that the Town of Victor Finance Director confirms in writing to the Planning Board that payment of all outstanding fees has been made by Frank Affronti. So do we have a motion on this?
I'll move it.
Okay, is that Scott?
Yeah.
Okay, who's second?
I'll second.
Joe
Joe Logan.
seconds, Joe Logan. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, okay, there you go.
Now
Now
you
I
can
think we're
adjourn.
Hey, Ernie, I've got something though.
Yeah, Joe.
Could we request the Conservation Board invite us to site walks? I'd really like to be able to have the opportunity to walk some of these sites. And I think it would help me understand a little bit better, what the property looks like and what some of the potential issues might be.
Well, we used to do that as a matter of course.
Yeah, we can extend
Right.
the invitation.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
We'll do it. Okay. Now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Joe Lindbeck
Second.
moves, Joe Logan seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay, guys.